Why? Was I betrayed? Does this question echo in your mind like a silent scream? The searing pain that follows an act of infidelity isn't just a loss of trust. It is the collapse of your entire reality. But today, we aren't here to offer platitudes or simple comfort. Today, we are going to dissect this experience with the precision of a surgeon. Is the sole reason for this devastation that your partner is evil or immoral? Or are you simply too innocent for this world? If your story is that simple, you might want to close this video right now, because here we leave victim mentalities and moral judgments at the door. Do you have the courage to go beyond good and evil? To face your own self? Because if you only point the finger outward, you will leave this experience without learning a single thing. And every lesson unlearned is a lesson life will eventually serve you again. Psychology tells us that betrayal is not just a mistake, it is a symptom. No one wakes up and says, "Today, I'm going to destroy my life." It begins with unmet needs buried deep within the subconscious. In Western psychology, we look closely at attachment theory. Consider the anxious lover. Driven by a deep-seated fear of abandonment, they may seek constant external validation. They look for that instant hit of enoughness in the eyes of a stranger because they can't find it within themselves. The avoidant lover. When a relationship gets too deep, the emotional intimacy feels like claustrophobia. For them, betrayal is a distorted way of reclaiming independence, an emergency exit from the fear of being truly known. Then, there is the shadow. As Carl Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Is it possible that your partner is simply acting out the dark, undisciplined, and impulsive side that you have spent your whole life suppressing? Science tells us the why, but it rarely tells us how to stop. Because sometimes our biology betrays our values. Our bodies are machines programmed for survival, and sometimes that machine prioritizes novelty over loyalty. In long-term relationships, the dopamine levels that fueled that initial fire naturally drop. The brain's reward system can find it difficult to resist the dopamine spike promised by a new touch or a secret thrill. This is what scientists call the Coolidge effect, the artificial surge of vitality triggered by a new partner. But we are more than biological machines. We possess a prefrontal cortex. We possess willpower. If the conscious will cannot stand as a master over these biological urges, then a human is nothing more than a sophisticated animal. This is where modern science hits a wall, and where ancient wisdom begins. Sufism gives a very precise name to this inner conflict: the Nafs. In English, we call it the lower self, or the egoic mind. The Nafs is like a wild, untamed horse. It is insatiable. It always wants more, newer, and faker. If you hand the reins of your life over to this horse, it will inevitably lead you off a cliff. Sufi wisdom suggests that the one who betrays has not just betrayed their partner, they have betrayed their own purpose. They have become a slave to their animalistic self, Nafs Amar. Sometimes the Nafs convinces you that you are so special and so deserving that you need an audience to admire you. This is the hunger of narcissism. Other times, it convinces you that you are worthless, so you try to fill that void in the arms of someone else. But remember, betrayal isn't just physical. The moment you feed that desire in your mind, The moment you watch that forbidden fantasy like a movie, you have already succumbed to the Nafs. True betrayal begins in the intention, not the action. One who does not know their Nafs is always a candidate for both betraying and being betrayed. Now, we come to the hardest part, for the one who was betrayed. If you are hurting, I hear you. But the only way to heal that pain is to read the message inside it. We call this radical responsibility. Are you brave enough to ask yourself these questions? Why did I choose this person? Did I love who they truly were, or did I love the security, the status, or the image they provided me? How much of my true self did I sacrifice in this relationship? Did I deify my partner and lose my own center? Because if you turn a human into a god, they will eventually sin just to remind you they are only human. Why did you close your eyes when you first felt the lack of integrity? Why did you betray your own intuition? Perhaps this experience of being betrayed came to stop your betrayal of yourself. Perhaps life is saying, stop focusing so much on the other and return to your core, your essence. To never be betrayed again is not the goal. The goal is to reach a level of spiritual maturity where your worth is no longer tied to someone else's loyalty. When we silence the noise of the Nafs, a quiet space remains. In Sufism, we call this the heart, qalb. But this isn't the romantic heart you know. It is the center of truth. In this video, we opened a wound, but you cannot drain the infection without opening the wound first. Betrayal is a game of the ego. Being betrayed is a painful wake-up call. Will you listen to the call, or will you stay in the role of the victim and continue to point fingers? The choice is yours. In the next episode, we will dive into mirroring in relationships. We will discover which part of you your partner is actually representing. If you want to stay on this journey, subscribe and start looking beneath the surface with me. Now think again, why were you really cheated on? What did cheating teach you? Let's meet in the comments. Anatomy of self. Because you cannot change what you do not understand.